And we are back
Hello.
with another outstanding episode of the Square Table Degenerates. Today we are joined by singer and supermodel Miss Samantha Fox. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm very, very well. I actually arrived back from the States yesterday, so I'm a little bit jet lagged.
Okay,
Keep
okay.
sort of nodding off during the day today, but I'm getting there.
I just made that trip last month. What airport did you fly out of going back to the UK?
First of all, I was doing a gig in Cancun for Sands, and then I flew to Florida. So I guess 5 or 6 hours is the time difference between there. It's always worse coming home. Going is different. I don't know why, but always, like when I was working a lot in America and going backwards and forwards, I was going like once a week. And in the end, I said to the record company, please, I said, to really break America, I really think I should live there for a while because it's constant jet lag. I didn't know what's it's unbelievable. One week I'd be in Texas, go home. The next week I'd be in Chicago, go home. Then I go to New York, go home. And in the end, I ended up getting an apartment in New York, and it was much easier because it's so big, America, right?
It's so big. It is really
It's
big over here. Compared to
so
you
big.
guys, so you guys, it's man, I was just over there, and the things I noticed, man, like the driveways over there. I know a lot of the guys in that we got a lot of like UK friends in the chat, but the driveways over there are so tiny. It's so forward to me. Like when I went over there, because like I'm a standard blue collar guy. I got a driveway probably fit 4 or 5 cars in. If I had a driveway like that in the UK, I'd be like a millionaire. There's no driveways over there. It was so funny.
It's really weird. The roads are so much smaller too. I remember when I lived in America, then I went to live in Spain for a little while, and I had my blazy Chevy Blazer that I bought shipped back from America because I loved it so much. And then I brought it back to England. Obviously, it was a left-hand drive. And now I'm with this big Chevy Blazer, a left-hand drive, and there's these little weeny teeny roads, and I just kept getting hit in wing mirrors, and I thought, I don't know if this is a good idea. But everybody wanted to buy it off me. It was like, because nobody has seen a Chevy Blazer in England. I just heard they bought it out again back there, but it was like my favourite car at the time.
Oh yeah, we see Blazers all over the place, man. It's like after the F-150, maybe like a Silverado, the Blazers are right up there. Like
Yeah,
everybody had a Blazer at one time.
I know, and there was me being trying to be quite discreet because being very famous, and I'm the only person in London driving a Chevy Blazer. Yeah, there was a lot of attention. A lot of guys used to go, "Whoa, Sam, great car," and I don't know. Why am I talking American? That's because of you. Whoa, Sam, what a great car. Where'd you get that? Well, it weren't here.
We're already getting the questions rolling in. A question from Lord Spurring. He says, Samantha, what cars do you have now?
Um, ah, I've got the first original Z3 that I bought in the 90s because I saw James Bond and I saw that car and I just thought I could just see myself in that. I just can't let that baby go. And my current car is a Mini Cooper S. It's pretty nippy, pretty fast. It was my first ever car, a Mini. This is my third Mini I've had. I can park very easily. As you know, London's very like this, and it's super nippy, and I just always love minis, and this is a much faster mini than I've always had before. Yeah, my dad had one as well in the 60s.
Those
um
minis in the 60s were tiny. They were so little. They were so little
yeah
ones now.
they
They're even smaller, I think. I don't even think I could fit in those things.
they were really tiny then. Mr. Bean still drives one of those original minis, I believe.
Nice. All right, it says on the internet you were born in East London. That part's correct, I'm assuming, right?
I was born in East London, that's correct, under the Sound of Bow Bells, which is very, very East End. And then, but really and truly, I'm from Islington, which is North London. That's where I was brought up, really. And yeah, I live northeast now. All my family kind of moved a little bit more east towards the countryside. And I'm one of the last to leave inner London. So I'm only, like, say, 12 kilometres from the centre, but in 5 minutes I can be in Epping Forest and see lots and lots of trees and parks and deer and ducks, and I could, yeah, you're in another world there. So I've got the best of both worlds, really. And I'm very near the M25, which goes direct to every airport, which I always be tending to go to. So yeah, it's a great place to live. Yeah, and my family moved this way. So, but yeah, I'm proper North London, Islington girl. Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of things did you do for fun growing up before you got into all the show business stuff? Like when you were, we call it grade school over here, but like, when you were like between 5 and I don't know, teenager, what kind of things you do?
Oh wow, mostly sports actually. As a teenager, I was in the swimming team, and then I got through to, like, I was one of the best of my school, and I used to swim for my sort of county, I guess you call it. I used to do martial arts. I used to do gymnastics, and I used to play for a women's football team called Arsenal Ladies. So, and in between, obviously, there was boyfriends. I was a teenager and having fun there. But yeah, I was a very sporty kid, and also I come from a family of market traders, so I spent a lot of time at the markets, helping my family out on their fruit and veg stalls, or their clothes stalls, or their newspaper stands, and earning bits of money and saving up for that leather jacket, that you want, or those trainers that you want at that time. And my work ethic was always like, I wanted to work and also to earn money to buy what I really wanted. And I was brought up in a very working class family, and if I wanted something, I had to work for it. And yeah, it didn't come easy. No, not teenagers now want a new pair of trainers every week, don't they? I mean, it's like crazy. I don't know how parents keep up these days with the fashion and what kids want, and phones and tablets. It's changed so much. It really has, since I was a kid.
A lot of it's easy though, because like a lot of the stuff comes in cycles. So like, like bands from the 80s are popular again, like Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses. So like I can just, my kids can wear, my daughter, she's 13, she wears all my old t-shirts, just ironically, just because like, a lot, what goes around comes around. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of young people very into retro at the moment, and the 80s shows that I'm doing. I mean, the one recently in Cancun, I was performing with Culture Club, The Cult, Cutting Crew, oh my God, Vanilla Ice. And these people I grew up with too. So it's exciting for me as well as the audience. And the audience were very, very young. Yeah, and they were there with the Samantha Fox t-shirts on, and it was fantastic. And there's young people there was old people there, all sexes, all genders. It was a really good atmosphere.
Cancun's a blast. I was there for spring break in 2002, so that was 20 some years ago. Where'd you perform in Cancun? You remember the name of the place?
Yeah, I mean, it's Planet Hollywood, but Sands, they take it, an American company, take it over every year for 3 nights.
Okay.
And they just put on these amazing people. It's a great thing for people. If I was like 19, 20, I would have been at a show like that, because there was just so much for them to do and so many great bands to see in those 3 days. I don't know how they coped for 3 days of going to concerts, to be honest. But again, they were young, But no, it was great atmosphere. Sorry.
Cancun's about just loaded and just doing whatever. I was down there for about 8 days, and I don't remember about 5 of them. So I don't. Chances are, half the people in the crowd are like, we saw Samantha Fox. Really? I remember getting drunk and then doing this, and then I guess.
I don't, because the first I spoke, it rained. It was like beautiful weather, and then suddenly I woke up that morning off the gig. I'd been there 2 days, and the morning of the gig, it really rained, and I was performing outside by the pool, because there was a stage with beautiful background of the beach, and then the pool, and I knew which everyone was going to be in it. It was going to be a lot of fun. So it got delayed because of the rain and the equipment and this and that. So first of all, it's going to be 2. No, was it going to be 1 or 2? And then it was 4 o'clock. So by the time 4 o'clock come, yes, it was an all-exclusive resort, But yeah, I'd never seen so many boobies in my life. Let me tell you, I kept forgetting me words.
Oh yeah,
I'm
Oh
only
yeah,
joking.
oh yeah. I remember Cancun vividly. I got pictures on my Facebook from back then.
Oh, really?
Half of them are edited, but it's such a blast if you ever get to go. Well, that was 20 years ago. Who knows? It could be changed now. You got to be careful out there in
I'm
Cancun
not
because, like,
sure. I remember in Daytona Beach spring break in I think '89. I did a gig there with the Fine Young Cannibals. It was, yeah, and it was crazy. There was spring break, and I was that age. You know, I was what was I then? I was 21. I was young, and I was thinking, well, this is crazy. This is great. A part of me wanted to be in that audience, you know, and just being one of those young people having the fun. But no, I had a lot of fun anyway because the audience was so responsive and they sang along to every word, and everyone was in such a great mood. And that's what you want as a performer. You just want to see happy faces, and there's always plenty of them, which is great.
that's awesome. Now, when did you first sing and dance or have anything to start doing with the arts? Like, how old do you remember being?
I first started at 5 in theatre school, called the Anna Scher Theatre School. And funny enough, bands like Spandau Ballet, a couple of the boys from there, they were in the same class as me. They went on to do a couple of films, The Craze, and I can't remember the other one. That'd be Martin Kemp and his brother, and not the other Kemp. I can't remember the other Kemp. But anyway, yeah, they were there. And then when I was there till when I was 10, and then we moved. And then I auditioned for Judi Dench Mountview Theatre, which is a little bit more stuffy than the one I went to before. And obviously it was adults as well as let's say, I was, I think, 14, 15. And then I started to do more musicals and plays and singing and performing with adults and not just kids. So it was a lot more singing then. And then at school, I created a band when I was really young. We played at school discos and things like that. I don't know how good we were, really. I'm not sure, because when I talk to some of my mates who was in it, we have school reunions. We do laugh about those days. Yeah, and then I can't remember what else you asked me. I'm waffling away. Maybe it's the jet lag.
That jet lag took me a week about to get over. I was at work like falling
Oh,
asleep.
please don't. I know, but no. Yeah. So growing, I don't know. Yeah, So starting in the business, I started very young, and then I had my first band like at 17. My first record deal. That was a band name called SFX, meaning Special Effects or Sam Fox, and it consisted of a sax player, a keyboard player, a guitarist, a drummer, and me. And we had a song out, and that went to 40 something. And I carried on working with them. I think I had 2 singles out with that band, and then I gave that kind of. Then I entered a beauty competition, and I was offered a very lucrative deal when I was very young, and so yeah, I did glamour modeling for 4 years, and then at the age of 20, I was sent a song called "Touch Me" through the post in a cassette, because they'd seen me, the record company seen me on TV the night before, saying that I'd sang always, and my favourite singer was Annie Lennox, and that at that time, and Stevie Nicks and Pat Benatar, and yeah, that went out live, and then within the next 3 days, a cassette came in my door, and it was just said, "Touch Me, Samantha Fox. Please listen to this." And I listened to it, and I was like, "Oh, this song's amazing. This song's a hit." And my dad, he said, "Well, they want you to audition for it. They're looking for the British Madonna." And obviously, I looked up Madonna. She's was a big star before I was a star. And for a lot of young girls, she was an amazing woman to look up to, very strong, did what she wanted to do, had a great image, her songs were great. So yeah, of course I wanted to be the British Madonna. And then from that audition, there was hundreds and hundreds of girls. And when I went in to do my part, they were very, I don't know what it is, but I guess when you've been a glamour model, it's kind of hard to prove to people that you've got other assets. And I have good vocal cords too. And yeah, I sang the song, and they said, can you wait till the end? And they offered me a 5 album deal. And so
Nice.
that's when that started. Yeah.
Awesome. So what were some of your, like when you were, 14, 15, before you got into the music thing and the modeling stuff real big, what was some of the music stuff you were rocking back then? Were you into, was that too early for the punk stuff, or what kind of music were you rocking?
Everything really, because of the fashion. Back in the 80s, the fashion kind of went with the music that you liked. If you liked Spandau Ballet, Duran Duran, you was a new romantic, and you wore kind of really frilly shirts, and guys wore their hair really long at the front and short at the sides, and makeup. So I was a little bit of that at one point, Duran Duran and that, and Spandau Ballet and those kind of bands. And then quite quickly I'd get bored with that fashion, and I think, oh, I really like this band. Let's say, for example, I really liked David Bowie. And for me, his videos were different. He was very kind of different. And I thought these lyrics were amazing. So I really liked David Bowie. I used to like Prince. I used to love ska music for a while because my dad was a mod back in the 60s, and that kind of rubbed off a little bit with bands like Madness, the Specials, the Beat, Selector, and that was kind of mod clothing, and that would be like a lot of black and white, representing ska music. The boys used to wear pork pie hats, drain pipes, and white socks and loafers, and the girls very similar actually. Except I was a bit more of a tomboy. I got to say, I did have a parka with a big sign of the Who on the back, the big sign, the round sign with the big arrow through it. I was a big fan of the film Quadrophenia. I kind of went through that stage. And then my music taste, that's why I think by now it's so varied. I love rock, I love pop. I was very into John Bon Jovi when I very first started. Bands like, let's say, John Bon Jovi, Motley Crue. And obviously I was a fan of Kiss, and I dated Paul Stanley, which was just wonderful.
Nice.
So that was my, a lot of rock influence, a lot of dance music influence. If music's good, it's good. I've got my taste is very varied, very varied.
Yeah. And it appears you got into the music and the modeling quite young. Now, which came first? Was it the music or the modeling, or did they come at the same time?
The music came first, yeah, as I said, with the school band, and then the modeling, yeah, and then it's been music ever since 1986. No, music since, let's say, but Touch Me was released in 86 in England. I was still working as a glamour model because I had a contract, and as soon as that contract ended, I didn't pursue anymore. I mean, 4 years in modeling is, for me, and now there's only so many poses that you can do, so many photographers you can work with, and it was time to live my dream and become an international singing star, and that's or an acting star, and that was always my dream, really. I did enjoy the modeling. It prepared me very well for this world of the music business, because it's a tough business. So doing the modeling, and I wasn't the only traveling I did then was to go to beautiful beaches to do great calendars and things like that. So I traveled the world as well, and there's nothing like traveling the world for a great education. So it kind of really helped me go into the music business. It's a tough business for a woman back then, back in the 80s, it was tough. So we had to be tough to survive it.
Is it safe to say you liked music better than modeling then?
Oh yeah, because music, you can never learn enough. It's like every album that I make, it's got to be different, and the songs are always written from my heart as well. So, and as you grow, you mature, and your experiences of life change. Whereas modeling is just looking in that camera and looking fantastic and doing poses. But as I said, with music, you can go on and on. It's like I produce now. I do a lot more writing now. I do a lot more writing for other people. So I'm always moving forward. I'm still learning with music. Let's look at the change between technology from the 80s to now, and what you have to learn, the different desks that people are making albums at home. They're not having to pay £1,000 or 1,500 a day to use a studio, and then the star have to work their butt off in order to pay back all this money that we've spent on promotions, getting helicopters everywhere, limousines. But you think, oh, this is so wonderful, and then you get your royalties coming, you see what's taken off. It's like, no, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to use my own transport, put my own. I don't need a helicopter, really. You know.
That's why I've learned. I mean, I'm not famous or anything, but like you learn from stuff like that. You don't sign deals that you don't know. I mean, granted, I'm older, so it's a lot easier, but you know, because you see so many people get taken advantage of because they just want to get that instant fame, and you got to grind.
Course.
Really,
of course, yeah. Listen, always get a lawyer. That's what I say. A lot of people think they can read these things and they can understand them, but there's always a catch. And these people are very clever. And remember, they've all got more money than you. And it's very difficult to take somebody who's a big company to court. So get yourself whatever contract you get in life, please get a lawyer. That's my advice. That's my advice today.
All right, we got a question from BC. He says, what is Samantha's favorite genre of movie, and what is your favorite movie from set genre?
My genre movie is, I love thrillers. Okay. I love true stories. And my favorite, let's say, one of my favorite films was probably, let's say, is it The Seven Sins with Brad Pitt? I love that film. And Morgan. Oh, I'm really bad at remembering names. Let me think. I love things what can really, they frighten me. Things what can really, horror movies I used to love. I do love a good horror, but I feel as I've got older that some of them are really silly. But I know when I was growing up, I was addicted to them, but I could never watch them on my own. I was always if I babysitted my little sister, my mum and dad went out, I'd make her stay up with me. I wouldn't put her to bed when I was supposed to. And then now I like thrillers, actors. Good movies. I've just seen the new Elvis movie. I think how wonderful that movie was, and what a great actor that guy. I never really knew he existed. Obviously, he was a young star, but he was just amazing in it. What thrillers? Oh my God, Jodie Foster, Silence of the Lambs. That's
a good one.
The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. The Caller with Halle Berry. You know, about the woman kidnapped in the car and she's on the phone helping her. These are all things that go on every day, and you're like, oh my God, imagine that job, the stress of that job, answering these kind of calls from young girls who are hidden under a bed, and there's like some madman in their bedroom, and things will get me a little bit tense at the edge of my seat, you know. Yeah. I was away on Halloween, and I put on the hotel room, the Halloween, the new one with Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously an older Jamie Lee Curtis. I was watching it and I was thinking, I think I'm too old for this now. I really do. I loved it. I mean, I loved Friday the 13th back in the day, Nightmare on Elm Street. I loved Nightmare on Elm Street so much, and I remember telling the record company, so we did a track for the album. So that's on the Nightmare on Elm Street 5, I think. The Dreamcatcher. So I can't remember. There was a few of them. It was a long time.
While we're talking about soundtracks, I did look up. You were on the Clerks 2 soundtrack, and I had to go back and watch it. And I remember that movie. Do you remember the Clerks 2 movie?
Clerks 2.
Yeah, Clerks 2. Because they played Naughty Girls Need Love 2 when they had the.
What?
I didn't so laugh, but they thought they were getting a donkey show, but it turns out it was just a guy who was going to do the donkey, and he didn't call it bestiality, he called it interspecies erotica, and then he came out and it was so funny.
But oh my word! Well, that's the first. What can I say? I have to check that out on YouTube. Tell me what I look up for. What do I look for?
just type in Clerks 2
Clerks
Donkey.
2.
Yeah, Clerks 2 Donkey Show, and it should come up. And they play your whole song, all 4 minutes of it during the thing. It's great.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Oh, the Versace movie. They played near enough the whole of. There's a great scene where Versace is getting ready to go out for the night, and he's dancing to "Touch Me" all the way through. Well, that was cool.
Nice. Now, it says your first contract was with Lamborghini Records. Now, have you ever been in a Lamborghini or owned a Lamborghini yourself?
No, I've never owned a Lamborghini. No. I went to dinner in the Lamborghini with the owner's son. Because he bought the record company for his son, Italian. And we went for dinner to sign the contracts and stuff. And he picked me up in a Lamborghini. So it was the first time I'd been in one. I was very, very young then. I think I was 17 because the B-side's, 17 and holding. And and the other time I've been in a Lamborghini was in a monsoon when I was doing a movie in Bollywood. And we had to travel quite far to this old theatre, and they're very low Lamborghinis. And it was monsoon, and we're driving through this marketplace, and I'm thinking, these doors are not normal. These doors are not normal. Are we gonna get flooded in this car? And we were so deep in the water. I just think, but we made it. That's all I can say. So that was my second experience in a Lamborghini.
Nice. Now those, how'd you tour them or early years? Now, if so, like, where were you playing? We just talked to Tiffany a couple days ago. She said hi, by the way.
Oh, hi, yeah.
And she said that she did the mall tours because she was so young, they didn't really know what to put her, because she couldn't get into the bar. The States is a little different in the States, because when I talked to Dennis Seaton from Musical Youth, he said that they would just put him in the bar and they didn't care over there. So how did you tour? And well, first off, did you tour in those early years? And was it in bars? Where did you tour? Like, where did you perform?
Well, my first tour of America was a big tour. First of all, I was offered, it was the class of 89, and Disney approached me to perform at the one in Orlando over, of course, 3 weeks, I think it was. And then, and that was with EMF, a really good British band I liked, New Kids on the Block, and Star. You're my shining star. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, that was a long time ago as well. And I played on the main stage, and my dressing room was the Cinderella's bedroom at the top, and the lift wasn't working. And we had 3 shows a night. And so after each show, obviously I was very, very hot, and I just wanted to get the hairdryer going on my hair again, get my makeup ready for the next show. But the time I get up to the dressing room and start blow drying my hair and trying to, redo my makeup and maybe change my outfit, I'd have to be down again. So in the end, we just have to put everything behind the little bit of where the castle was. So yeah, I didn't really want to keep going up and down those stairs in between the gigs, because doing 3 gigs a night can take it out of you, especially in that heat.
Well, Florida's so ridiculously hot. Like, and it rains like from 2 to 3 every day, and it's. I'm not. A lot of people like Florida over here. I know we got some people from Florida probably in the chat. I'm just not a Florida fan. I just can't deal with that heat, man. There's no way. There's just no way. I don't know.
Well, you should. The heat in Mexico when I played last week, because I was playing. That was like 11 songs, and it was the sun was directly in my face on that gig. And everybody else was in the pool with bikinis on. But it was a very good outlook. I saw many boobs. It's very interesting. And then, I forgot my words.
Oh, for sure. Hey, I got like that too. There's a couple pictures of me. We won't get into that on live air. But yeah, man, freaking Cancun was sweet, bro. It was so awesome. Yeah. Now in the States, the naughty girls need love too. Do you remember that video? That's not in the States, but you remember the video, obviously. Do you remember where that was shot and how long it took to shoot that bad boy?
Wow, that was so quick. It was at the time when I went over, we were discussing that I met a few different directors, and at the time I was a Taylor Dane fan. And Tell It to My Heart. This was a massive song at the moment. It was on MTV all the time. And it was a simple video in the way that it just showed her as a performer. And I just like the style of it. And also this particular director directed I Drove All Night by Cyndi Lauper, who I was a massive fan of. And I like that video too. And his name was Scott. And I can't remember his name, but I recently heard that he died. He went on to live in America and became a big film director. Oh, Scott Short, no, Scott, I can't remember. I should have Googled him before I spoke to you, but people probably will Google it now, hopefully. But yeah, I found out when I Googled him not so long ago what he was up to, because we stayed friends for quite a while. Googled to see where he was based because I was in New York and maybe, wanted to drop by and see him, and it said that he wasn't here anymore, that he wasn't alive, and he is probably only 2 years older than me, I would assume. But he was fantastic. So the video was set in a basket. Most of it was a typical New York basketball, a graffitied place, which was really cool. We don't really have a lot of basketball in Great Britain. You don't really see these sort of places with graffiti everywhere. You do if you go to inner London on bridges and stuff, but you'd never see these because it was so New York. It was very New York. And Full Force had a cameo part in it at the back. I did my own auditioning. I went on a radio show. I think it was Z100 in the morning. I said, I'm looking for some fantastic dancers to be in my new video called Naughty Girls Need Love Too. And the auditions will be it was a dance studio in Manhattan somewhere. And the boys would come in. It was like the X Factor where there was 4 of us. There was me, there was my let's say my A&R, my publicist, the person who done all the PR for the music from RCA, it was called then. And then there was my manager, and then there was obviously the director. Yeah. And so the first thing they had to do, the boys, we wanted some nice looking boys with good bodies.
All right.
And the first thing they had to do was take their top off, and each person they had to dance a little bit to a song, because we wanted them just to wear skimpy kind of t-shirts and jeans, ripped jeans. And the first thing, so it's so funny because the director said, "Hey Sam, why don't you do the Polaroids? Switch jobs." And I went, no. I feel really embarrassed to do that. And then he did that, and I went for all the Polaroids, and there was so many men who turned up. Obviously, so many gorgeous young men, and it's very difficult to choose, I've got to say. And I think I chose a good bunch. A good bunch.
It reminded me so much of the Right Said Fred video, the I'm Too Sexy, just because all the running around and topless, just those really deep cut V-neck.
Yeah.
Just reminded me so much of that. It was so funny.
That's right. The main lead character in the Naughty Girls video, you have the Chippendales, you have the big Chippendales. He was one of the small Chippendales. He just had the greatest dance moves and the best body. And yeah, if you watch the video, yeah. And then we did a longer version, because in those days there would be a 12-inch play at a club, and they would play a 12-inch, a little bit racier video for the nightclubs. So we shot extra footage, me and the lead guy together. And that's all I'll say about that.
Nice. I did know one thing from the video. You were rocking some black Chuck Taylors. I don't know if you remember that. Now, I'm a fan of Chucks myself. Do you still rock Chucks? And if not, what's your go-to shoes?
Oh, did you call Converse Trucks?
Chucks, yeah, we call them Chucks because they're Chuck Taylor is the name of them. It was.
I've never heard that in my life. I've never heard that. They were very. They just became really fashionable in England at that time, and I mean, I'm a massive trainer fan. I've got hundreds of trainers. I'm a very lucky girl to have hundreds of trainers. I can't walk past a trainer shop. It's like I get all excited. So no, the whole image was my idea. The ripped jean, the black outfit with a little skirt I bought on 8th Street. by I can't remember anything today. She's very Patricia Field, is it? Yeah, she did all the clothes for that program with the 3 women in it. Forgive me, everybody, I've got jet lag. But yeah, she had a shop, and I saw this little skirt, and the t-shirt was kind of like had what you'd normally have on stockings and suspenders, and it connected to the little skirt. But the main outfit I wanted to wear was my jeans and my trainers, and yeah, that was my main performing outfit. But obviously, I had to have another change. And I wore a sombrero, a very small a hat. I was living in Spain at the time, so I bought this hat that I used to wear quite a lot. It was kind of a short, they call it a Spanish trilby, I guess. And I remember wearing that, yeah. And the pink hair, that was my idea, because I was thinking, I don't want to get a cut. I want to leave it long, but I want it to be a bit different. So I decided to do the pink underneath, and the director thought that was a great idea, because he was saying, what about your image? I said, what my image is really jeans and leather jackets and jean jackets. And he said, well, we stick with that. And he said, what about your hair? What you going to do about your hair? Like, are we going to funk it up? Are we going to do this? I had bangs at the time, whereas lots of Americans at that time were saying, wow, I love your bangs. And I really didn't know what bangs were. I thought they was talking about something else. And so what I did, I took the top half of my my blonde hair, took it up, put it in a ponytail, and then just dyed it all dark pink underneath the bangs and everywhere. So that's where the pink hair came from. But when I used to do it at home, my bathroom, I don't know why, I had I had this beautiful bedroom with lovely white carpet going into my ensuite, and I remember doing it there and just totally ruining my new carpet. My mum come in, I was still living at home, and she was like, what's happened in here? Looked like a massacre had happened. It was everywhere.
So where did you live in Spain when you were over there?
I lived in Puerto Banús.
Okay, is that southern Spain? I was in there's a place called Sevilla. I was right outside of there. There's an Air Force base out there. I was there for like about a month or so. It's a great place.
It's a beautiful place, Seville. It's very famous for oranges, and you can literally go down the street and just pick them off the tree. No, it's a very, very pretty place. It's probably about a 3-hour drive from where I lived. Okay. I lived on the south coast, on the Mediterranean, which was very nice. That was in between when I was going backwards and forwards to the States. I was living there for a while, which was great. And then I lived in New York, and yeah, that's that really. And then so going back to the touring, I was a very lucky girl. I don't know, but because I had the Disney dates, I was filling stadiums. First we went to Canada, where I'd gone double platinum a couple of times, and every show we sold out there, in Quebec and Toronto and the rest of Canada, Montreal, and we sold out. We were playing to like 20,000 people. The people supporting us was always a local band from that area, because I'm all about giving people a chance in life. It's like there we are with 20,000 people. Who's the band here in this area who are up and coming, who want to make it? So it was great tour. Then we went to the States. I first started off. I left my home in New York. The first gig was Alabama. And my friend always laughs and said, I went, hello, Alabama. My friend always laughs at that. And then we went down to Jacksonville, and then we went to start the Disney gigs, and then we finished there for a while, and then we just went everywhere on this tour bus. I was on it for 6 months. So you name a place, I went there. Awesome. Well, maybe there'll be a few people who might say, listening now, she didn't come here, but 6 months is a long time to be living on a bus. I mean, I hope I made
6 months. My goodness. Now I got to talk to you about these 80s parties. Now I saw a picture of you and Freddie Mercury. I'll show everybody real quick. I saved this.
I have it in my house. Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Oh yeah, right here. You and Freddie Mercury just hanging out. Now, I
We
got
sang together that night.
I was going to ask what what was the occasion that you were there meeting Freddie Mercury, and what did you sing, and describe the experience?
They've just done a gig at Wembley, and it was their 10th anniversary? Because this is in 1986, I presume, because I Touched Me Out. Yeah. It could have been their 10th anniversary party, and it was held in London, Kensington. And I got an invite, and it was all very A-listers. It was Annie Lennox and Kim Wilde and Duran Duran and David Bowie, and just wow, just full of amazing big stars. And I remember you have to get in a lift to get, because it's called the Rooftop where they did the party, and you have to get in a lift. And as soon as I got in the lift with my friend, there was these naked women painted as trees with shot glasses on trays, and I didn't realise they were naked. And I'm looking at my mate in this lift going, and then we're both looking, and we look down, and we both noticed that they're naked, they're painted of tree. It's like, this party's going to be good. And it was a really fantastic party. And I was watching, Freddie was singing with his band, doing like they called themselves something, the Rockets, like they were doing all cover versions. And I was standing there in awe because I love Freddie, and he was one of my favourite ever performers. And you know, what a man. And I stand at the stage. I was probably the only one really watching him, because everybody had been to Wembley, but everyone was mingling and talking. I was just like that, along with a lot of other people. And he just pulled me up on stage, and he said, "What song do you know? What song do you know?" And I went, "Do you know Touch Me?" He went, "I know the chorus." He said, "No, do you know what was the song? Tutti Frutti." I went, "Yeah, Tutti Frutti, oh Roo." And that's what we sang together. And there's a video on YouTube. You can see him. He's swinging me around like a dolly. He's going left and right and left and right. And there's lots of pictures, if you Google them, of me and Freddie at that time. And it was still to this day the best party I'd ever been to. I was like 21 and I was 20. And it was, I'd never been to a party like that. There was dwarfs there with trays with shot glasses. So when there's just these glasses everywhere, and naked women. And when you're young, you're like, is this real? This is amazing, because he did throw a good party.
That's so awesome that he had those dwarves with the things in it. Because I've always told that story, and I never knew if it was true. And that's freaking awesome, man. That's so great.
Yeah, no, he threw some great parties. And then, unfortunately, not long, we had a friendship going on phone wise, but he became a hermit not long after that, which was such a shame, because the AIDS was a very new thing at that time. And I used to know Brian May's wife very well. She was a soap opera star, and I used to see her at a certain club I used to go to, and she used to send me messages, and I'd say, "Well, can I go and see him?" And she'd say, "No, he doesn't want to see anybody."
Oh wow.
And I just used to send my love all the time, backwards and forwards. Via Denise, she was married to Brian May. She still is. Not Denise, I can't think of her name. Oh, this is all very 80s today, isn't it? Yeah, it's all very. That's why I'm going to write another book. I missed out so much on the first one.
What is it about Freddie's legacy that even after all these years, he still seems to get more and more better? Like most people, after their career's over, but for some reason, Freddie just every year just seems to get more of a legacy. What do you think that is? What is it about that music and Queen?
The music is forever, isn't it? Really, it's their own style in particular. It's like we have a lot of rock bands, and if the first intro, sometimes it could be this band, it could be that band, but whenever a Queen song started, you knew it was Queen. There was no other band like Queen, and his voice was just so amazing. And also as a performer, let's say he was outrageous really for those days, being a man. He was very out, even though he was rock, and he still had those rock fans, but he was quite camp, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And I used to think, wow, they've got a lot of heterosexual fans and a lot of rock guys who love him, yet he could be anything he wanted to be, because there's only ever going to be one Freddie. You know, it's like my other mate who died, his good friend Lemmy from Motorhead. There's only ever going to be one Lemmy. And when I toured and was friends with him, he was like God, because he was so lovely to his fans. Like, he lived on the road, and the people who lived with him were his fans. They was his roadies. They was his whatever he wanted, you know, and he looked after people, and he lived his life on the road. And when he wasn't on the road, my mum would be saying to him, come on, come round, Lemmy, and have a nice Sunday roast dinner. Let me feed you up some proper food, you know, because he just lived life on the road, really.
Right, nice. All right, we got some viewer questions real quick. Was the Lucardi rivalry real or just tabloid hype?
Linda Lusardi.
Lusardi, yeah.
Yeah, she was another glamour model when I was doing glamour. She was before me. So no, she was somebody that I looked up to be honest, because she was a couple of years or 2 or 3 years old. I think she's 60 something now. So she was one of the very most famous girls before I kind of came along in the tabloids. So no, not really. The papers tried to make out some kind of story, as they do, and they called it a storm in a D cup.
That's great. That's funny though. That's funny.
It's
You gotta
just
admit that's funny.
typical British humour, and like I remember when I gave up modelling, for glamour modelling for the Sun, and it was my last page 3, and it said thank you. It was a gravestone. There was me, and it said thank you for the memories. You gotta laugh.
Love it.
Laugh.
All right, we got a question from Lord. He says, as a star, did you ever meet anyone that made you starstruck?
Yes, oh yes, Debbie Harry, most definitely. She was my idol.
Blondie.
I was very, very starstruck when I met her. Shirley Bassey, for me, growing up, listening a lot to Shirley Bassey, especially my mother and my grandmother, my granddad. I mean, what a voice! And used to grow up listening. So when I did the Brit Awards, I was presenting to an award to, I think it was the Spice Girls. And I arrived at the Brits. We call it the Brits. It's like your what do you call it there? The Grammys.
The Grammys, yeah.
The Grammys. And what was I saying? Oh, that was it. That's it. So they said to me when I got there, because I was only a presenter, I wasn't performing. Shirley was performing that night. Anyway, they knocked on a door. It says Shirley Bassey, a big star, and there was no room for me. But they said you can go in the green room, and they said, "No, I tell you what, I'm going to knock." So they knocked on Shirley Bassey's door, and I'm thinking, "No, my God!" They said, Shirley answered, and they said to Shirley, do you mind sharing your dressing room with Sam? She won't be in here long. She's just presenting an award. She went, come in, Sam. Come in, Sam. And she was so lovely. We had a cup of tea because she was doing a honey and lemon teas, and she was going to sing. And I remember having a honey and lemon tea with her. And then they came in with a box with a Raymond Vowell watch for her, with engraved on the back, Brits 80, 90, I can't remember. And they gave me one as well. I was like, and it had all diamonds around it. I was like, oh my God, I've only got this because I'm in Shirley Bassey's dressing room. I know it. But she was absolutely wonderful and not disappointing at all, and just as lovely as I hope, I imagined that. Well, I hopefully was. I didn't get disappointed, put it that way.
That's awesome. Speaking of parties, did you ever get to go to the Playboy Mansion? If so, what was it like? What was the experience like?
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
No. Too many horrible, sordid details about that place.
And I heard, that's a guy who's, we talk about how Freddie passes away and his legacy goes up. There's a guy who passes away and his legacy goes down, man. The more the stuff that comes out about Hefner.
Well, yeah, that's what happened, you see. But I heard it back then. I mean, I did Playboy when I was 30. I waited until it was a time when I could be in control of my pictures, i.e. choose my own photographer, choose my location, choose what I wore, have copy approval. And because I could then, and I knew I could have done it when I was modeling. I got offered it many and many times, but I didn't really need to do it then. But I always wanted to do it, but on my own, with my own rules, because there's certain photographers who can make an artistic nude picture look very tacky.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and I took my mum with me, and she kept checking his tripod and things like that. And if I was doing a bum shot, my mum would say, "Excuse me, can you lift up that tripod a bit, please? It's a bit there. Excuse me." So I was really pleased I had my mum there. I had my own hairdresser, makeup, and I had to do 1,000 pictures a day. And so I had copy approval. So I had 10,000 to look at when I got back on 35mm with a little eyeglass over like this for days. I'm sure that's why I've got a bad back at the bottom. But no, I don't. Since when I was young, I heard so many bad rumors about that place, and to be honest, I'm not a tacky person, and I think everything connected to that mansion it's not classy. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's just like a Hooters but bigger. Now going back to the Queen stuff, 2 Queen questions. First off, did you ever meet the Queen Elizabeth? And secondly, who do you got? If I'd said Beatles or Queen, who's your favorite out of those 2?
Queen were my favourite. But I did like John Lennon. I preferred John Lennon as a solo artist than I did Paul McCartney. Yeah, I really liked John Lennon a lot. Maybe it's because my dad was a massive Beatles fan, being a mod. You either liked in the 60s, it was either the Rolling Stones or the Beatles. My mum was more Rolling Stones because of the music was more dancey, and my dad was more Beatles. But no, I'd much, if I was going to put an album on today, I would say Alexa play. Well, better not say it. Yeah, and yeah, no, definitely. I like the Beatles. I think they're great melodies, very simple melodies, and that's the art of making good songs. Is simple melodies everybody can remember so well. They were very clever writers, but I just preferred John Lennon as a writer, and I just loved the way he was a poet, more of a poet and intellectual, and he had a lovely sound.
Heck yeah. So did you ever meet the Queen or get close to the vicinity? What's the closest you ever been to the Queen?
The closest I've been to the Queen, let me see. Well, when I met Princess Anne, I guess. I mean, the Queen wasn't there, but it is her daughter.
Okay.
I met Princess Anne a couple of times, and she's very, very friendly. She always says hello to me, and she always shakes my hand. And the week before, I practice my curtsy. I get very nervous. I've seen Lady Diana in real life very close, and that was wonderful. I was a big, big fan of Lady Di. I was dying to go and say hello. Prince Edward winked at me at the Michael Jackson concert in London. My mate went, "He just winked at you," and I was like, "Don't be so silly." And I looked over at him, and he was still looking at me. I was blushing. I was like, "Oh." So yeah, and Lady Diana's brother asked me out on numerous occasions.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They used to call him Champagne Charlie. He was a little bit of a wild boy, and I wasn't a wild girl. And yeah, at that time when Diana was very famous in the early days, he had an image of going out every night, and they called him Champagne Charlie. And he liked the girls, he liked his champagne, and he particularly liked me very much, but he wasn't really my type.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
And he
No,
was a lot older than me. He was a lot older than me as well. Yeah.
now the Charles in Charge. When you did, it said 1990. You did Charles in Charge. You were like Samantha Steele. Do you remember much of that? How was it like doing Charles in Charge?
I'm just gonna plug you in, because I don't know. I need a plug because it says low battery. I can't believe this is happening. So sorry, everybody.
No, you're fine.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. I'm just going to get technical now. I hope. Let's see if these new USB plugs I've got put in work. Should have lights under there. Now I've got to put it in here. 1 second. Sorry, hon. I'll put it in here. There you go. There we go. Just got to put you back in this little slot without falling over with the thing at the bottom. Yes. Okay, here we are. So right, where are we? Where are we at
Charles
now?
in charge. Charles in charge.
Oh yeah,
Describe it.
I was. Yeah, it's funny enough. I was a fan of the Fonz as a kid, and I used to think um, Scott. What's his name?
Bale.
What's his
Scott
name?
Bale. Scott
Scott Bale.
Bale.
Yeah, he was very cute, and I suppose back in the day, yeah, I was very young. I was probably 6, 7, 8 or something, and all the girls liked him. And then one day I got a phone call. He was directing this particular series, and he was a fan of Samantha Fox, and he asked, he rang my management and asked if I'd like to be in one of the episodes. And I said, yes, I'd love to. I mean, you know, it's quite crazy when you're a little girl and you watch someone on TV and then the next thing they're asking you to be on their show. I was working in LA anyway. I was doing lots of promo stuff at the time and I was there. But I would have flown there to do it anyway because it was something different. And yeah, the Samantha Steele, I said, it's silly calling me Samantha Steele from because Sheffield is known for steel workers. And they talk like that up there, really like that, love. You're right, love. And I'm from like the East End, North London, and I talk, well, I'm not Liza Doolittle, but my accent is surely not Northern. And it's so, but they kept the Samantha still in. I guess they sent, I don't know. But anyway, I said, if you've got any English people living here watching this, they'll think my accent is definitely not from Sheffield. But that's down to you, I said. Yeah, he did that episode. It was quite funny. I had to kiss him in that. And yeah, he wanted it from many angles, put it that way.
Can we get a retake, please? Another retake with Samantha Fox, please.
Yeah, one above, one from underneath, one from this side, one from that side. And I say, we did that one, Scott. We did that angle. Come on, can we just get on with the acting bit now, please?
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, we got another question from BC. He says, what is your favorite place on earth to rest your feet?
Thailand.
Thailand. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Thailand, because I can go to Thailand with a rucksack, not a lot of clothes. I normally go to an island where there's not a lot happening. But if I want if I want to go to a club or to have some entertainment, I can get a ferry over there and be in Koh Samui. But I really love island life. I love the hammock. I love to build fires on the beach. I love to just live in my bikini all day long. And one of my most favourite islands is called Koh Jum. It has no electricity and no hot water, and you have these little lanterns, and I just love it. You know, I mean, 40 years in the business next year, I've stayed in the best places in the world, but for me, that simplicity in life is what I love. Pure nature, and just sitting at peace with yourself, the solace, and the people are so friendly. They're very trustworthy, and the food, I just love Thai food.
Thai food is good. I do mess with some Thai food. They have really good food.
They do have really good food. It's very healthy too. And they're very happy people. They haven't got a lot in life at all, but they're so happy with what they've got. And then makes you really realise that people are so ungrateful back home with what they've got when you go there. You know, and they're very into family. They look, you know, like you'll go past a little house where they live and they all sleep on the floor on mattresses. They've always done that. And you'll see in there a television and a little rug, and you'll see Nanny sitting on the floor with a little cooker, and you'll see Granddad over there making something with some wood or chopping up coconuts, and then you see the kids just playing and the mum and dad doing something, and they all live together and they all look after each other, support each other, and they haven't got much, but they're happy because they haven't got stress.
Right. They got no cell phones. Exactly.
They can just go and fish, and they'll get a fish in seconds, and they've got coconuts growing everywhere, papaya, mango. They live off the land, and rice costs nothing, and there's just no stress.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I got a question from Sam Lee Original. She says, what is your favorite song to perform of all time?
To perform of my own songs? Yeah, I guess that's what she means. Oh wow. I still love performing Touch Me. I really, really do. Because when I sing it, it's almost like it's always the first time, because there's always a different audience. Well, sometimes it's all the same people come and see me all the time. But whenever I sing it, and as soon as that drum starts, it just goes mental and everybody sings along. It's an international song. It's like I feel like I touched the world with it, which I did, because it went to #1 in so many countries. And just the atmosphere, the way it just goes boom, and everyone knows every word. I love it. And I do also love performing Do You Want to Please Me, which is one of my rockier kind of songs.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites to do as well. And obviously I love doing Naughty Girls because it wasn't a hit in Europe, so I don't tend to do it much in Europe. So I like doing it, but when I come to the States, I do it because it was #3, I believe. It was bigger than Touch Me. It was my biggest song.
That was a banger. We used to listen to it at the roller skating rink all the time. All the time. Not take gas. Yeah, it was every time, every week, Friday nights. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was massive. And sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Another technical hitch. Oh, help me now. Yeah, so I love doing Naughty Girls because I don't really do it much in Europe. So like when I just did Sands, I did it there. And because everybody was American, and but something went awfully wrong there. I was supposed to go back for the encore. I was so upset. I went off before Naughty Girls. I did Touch Me. I ended my set with, it was a long set, like 11 songs, something like that. And I ended the show with Touch Me, which went down great. And then I went off to come back to do Naughty Girls Need Love too. And the band, not my band, because I used the house band, but I used my own guitarist, my own MD, started unplugging everything. And all the audience are going, we want more, we want more. And it was really upsetting for me, because I went on and they just started unplugging everything. Sorry, love, it's too late. And I was like, oh my God. And I felt so bad for the fans. They've travelled so far and wide, and I felt so bad. And I was really, really upset about it, actually. I was still going on about it, eating me dinner in the evening. I was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe this has happened. I feel like I've cheated people. I just hope. But no, a lot of my fans wrote to me. They said they saw the man unplug the computer, unplug his keyboard, and he had a bit of an attitude. So they saw what happened. So I'm so pleased, because I would always go back on to do that song. But how can I? Hello, maybe, just maybe, there is no band behind me. Oh no.
Nice. All right. What maybe you could? I don't know what Eurovision is, but it said Taylor writes, "Would you attempt a Eurovision entry?"
I did back in '90. I had a girl band for a while. I wrote songs with called Socks, SOX. And I wrote a song, entered it to the British Eurovision under another name called Laura Heard. And no, it wasn't. It was even funnier. It was Law and Order. Law and Order, that was it. And they rang me up. They said, "Is that Laura?" And I went, "Yes, this is Laura." And it was amazing that they said, "We love your song. Could you, would love to meet you at the BBC." So I went along and they went, "You're Laura?" I went, "Yeah." No, I was Samantha Fox. I went, "Oh, you wrote this song?" I said, "I did." And I'm just so pleased it got picked up without you knowing who it was. I said, "It's amazing. Thank you so much." So I entered the British, let's say that you have to there was like 10 of us in a competition before we got to whoever gets to the final of that one goes to the main one. I didn't, unfortunately, make the final. A rap band were picked, because it was also brand new at the time in England. But unfortunately, the record didn't do anything. It didn't chart. It didn't do anything. But it was a great song that I did, and a lot of my fans were there behind me, supporting me all the way, and I did lots of promotion. And I still feel it was released as a single, and the fact that I wrote it, I felt very proud, you know, and that it got chosen without me having to sell my name. It was like it got chosen because it was a good song.
Right, we're talking star power. I like it. All right, we got a question from Colette. She says, "What is your favorite food?" By the way, you look amazing. She says,
My favourite food is Thai food. And what was that next question?
"Oh, she just said you look amazing." By the way,
Oh, thank you. Well, I don't eat Thai every day, but I make it now and again. But mainly, the food that I eat is very nutritionally well balanced. To be honest, I look after my body. I work out. I have smoothies most days with broccoli and cucumber and bit of protein powder, some oats and things like that. I do juicing. Yeah, and lots of. I'm doing a lot of swimming lately because I've got such a bad knee. I keep putting it off because gigs are coming in. I'm thinking I need 6 weeks to get better, and because during COVID I didn't work for 2.5 years, so all these gigs what I'm doing now are things that I was supposed to do in 2020.
okay.
So I'm just enjoying being back, and I'm putting this knee off because I do not want to have 6 weeks off. I just, I want to do my stuff, but I'm going to do it very soon before Christmas while it's quiet.
What did you? That was actually one of my closers here before we get out of here. What did you do during COVID? I mean, you couldn't tour, obviously. Did you just sit around and talk on computer all the time, like a lot of us did, or what was the deal with that?
Getting fat. Oh, well, it's funny enough because after 2019, I'd had a really good year, and I thought I'm going to have an extension on my kitchen, and that I can't believe I chose it. Well, I didn't know COVID was going to happen, and it was. So my new oven, everything was stripped out, and my new oven, my new fridge, and everything was stuck in Germany. So I was on this diet called Jane Plan, and they're nutritionally diet. They're made food, and they're nutritionally made for you. They're the right amount of calories, and you have a breakfast, lunch, snacks, main meal. So we was all eating them, and then we got a little bit bored, and we started to ring Uber a lot. Uber Eats and Deliveroo, things like that. Watched a lot of Netflix, lots of series, wrote some songs. Um, the kitchen was getting done now and again when they could come to work. They couldn't get plaster some days, they couldn't get sand, cement. So there was a lot going on during the COVID as well, because the builders I had was my builders, and they were tested every day before they come. And I couldn't live in the kitchen because the dust was so awful. So I was never near them anyway. But I still had to be here to oversee what they were doing, obviously.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now,
A
all
lot
them
of
reality
dust.
shows, all the
Pardon?
reality shows you did over the years, was there any one that was like really fun or stuck out, or they kind of all just the same? What's the deal with them reality shows?
What's the best one?
Yeah, in your opinion, what was the best one you think?
Well,
Most
I
fun you had?
think the best one for me, because you get a lot out of it, is the jungle, where you have to go into the depths of the rainforest of Australia, and you land by helicopter, or you got to climb your way down. Well, you arrive by helicopter, and you got to find your way in, and you're way down into this. So you live outside, and you live and you survive by. You have to do these awful things like eat blended cockroaches, or big massive fish eyeballs, or my first thing I had to do is put a big spider in my mouth and hold it for 60 seconds, and then that way you win food for the camp. So you have to be really very strong, quite competitive, and live with snakes, live with rats, live with spiders, and live in the outdoors. And it's something you would never experience if you could never pay to do something like that. And I learned a lot from it. I know it sounds stupid, but I learned my strengths, and I really learned about life, how much I appreciate life and what we've been given. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Well, I'd like to first off, before we go, do you have anything to promote? You got any projects coming up?
I have. Hopefully it'll come out during the time of Eurovision. It's a song I've done with a singer called Dana International. She was the first transgender to win the Eurovision for Israel.
Okay.
And we've done a duet together called It's Your Life and Be Who You Want to Be. And yes, so we shot the video quite recently. Both of us are horrified from the results. It's just not up to our standards. So it's in the bin and we've got to do it again. So the release is gone back now, and we're thinking of releasing it not long after Christmas, leading up to the Eurovision time.
Okay.
And we're both hoping to perform at the Eurovision with that track.
Okay.
It's got that sound. It's very uplifting. People can hear it on TikTok, a little bit of it. Yeah.
Okay. Outstanding. Well, before, is Eurovision kind of like, we got American Idol and X Factor? Is it kind of like that? Is it describe that real quick? Eurovision.
Well, Eurovision is all the countries of Europe, and obviously we have many more because Russia was broken up in the late 80s. So we have all the countries like Lithuania, Estonia, Slovakia, Slovenia. So the whole of Europe, basically.
Okay.
And I think something like 5 billion people watch it worldwide. Madonna guest starred on it when she was promoting her last album. It's just watched by billions and billions of people, and it's really interesting to watch because the music's, the cultures are so different, and the sounds from each of these countries. But for some reason, Australia are in it now, and I'm thinking, when was Australia in Europe? That's my honest. Maybe you'll be in it next year.
Right, I'll be in the Czechoslovakia delegation or whatever of Eurovision. Who knows? But thank you so much to Miss Samantha Fox for coming out. This is one of the best shows we had in a while. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you later. See you guys.
Thank you so much, and look out, everybody, for the new album in the new year.
Next year, a new album comes out. So buy it or be square.
All right, okay. Don't nick it. Don't nick it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Great talking to you guys. Thank you so much for all your support, everybody.
Right,
love you lots. Bye.